Imagine that everything you've ever believed about your dog is completely wrong. That the furry being who sleeps in your bed, who barks when you get home, who seems to understand exactly how you feel, is not just a pet. This is not an ordinary story about pets. It is the revelation of one of the greatest spiritual mysteries that has forever changed our understanding of the true nature of dogs in our lives. And it all began with Edgar Cayce, the man who could access impossible information while asleep. Every dog has a specific mission in the life of its human companion, said Cayce during that historic session. They are spiritual guardians disguised as pets. Their loyalty is not just instinct, it is a sacred commitment. They feel what you feel before you even know you're feeling it, Cayce revealed. This connection is not physical, it is energetic, spiritual, dimensional. Cayce had already demonstrated his ability to access information about past lives, future predictions, and impossible healings. But the revelation about dogs was different. It touched on something that millions of people experience daily, but have never been able to fully explain. Have you ever wondered why your dog came into your life exactly when it did? Why, among so many animals available, you chose each other? Why it has exactly the personality it has, the behaviors it shows, the quirks it displays? Edgar Cayce discovered that there is no coincidence in this story. There is only a perfect plan, a spiritual mission disguised as unconditional love. And today, more than 80 years after that historic revelation, we are ready to fully uncover this mystery. Get ready to discover the truth about your dog. Get ready to understand why they are truly in your life. Pause for a moment and think about the story of how you and your dog met. Maybe you went to a shelter just to take a look and walked out with a new companion. Or maybe it showed up lost at your doorstep. Or still, you might have resisted the idea of having a pet for months until something inexplicable made you change your mind. Do you really believe it was coincidence? Edgar Cayce revealed a truth that will completely change your perspective on this encounter. You and your dog already knew each other long before meeting in this life. You have a connection that transcends time, space, and even death itself. In spiritual dimensions, before we reincarnate, we make agreements with other souls about the roles we will play in physical life. These contracts include family, friends, romantic partners, and yes, our pets. Before we dive into the extraordinary revelations about our canine companions, you need to understand who the man behind this revolutionary discovery was. Edgar Cayce was not a charlatan seeking fame or money. He was an ordinary man who discovered he had an extraordinary gift and who used that gift to change our understanding of spiritual reality. Born in 1877 on a simple farm in Kentucky, Edgar Cayce was just a young photographer when he discovered his unique ability. At 21, he completely lost his voice due to severe laryngitis. Doctors said he would never speak normally again. Then, something impossible happened. During a hypnosis session to treat his condition, Cayce entered a deep trance state. In this state, he not only diagnosed his own illness with impressive medical accuracy, but also prescribed a specific treatment that worked perfectly. His voice returned completely. But the most surprising thing was discovering that, while asleep, Edgar Cayce could access information about anyone, anywhere in the world. He only needed the person's name and address to provide accurate medical diagnoses, predict future events, and reveal information about past lives. For 43 years, Cayce performed over 14,000 documented psychic readings. Renowned doctors verified the accuracy of his diagnoses. People he had never met testified to the precision of his predictions. Scientists studied his methods without being able to explain how he did what he did. Cayce became known as the Sleeping Prophet because he could only access this extraordinary information when in a deep trance. He himself remembered nothing of what he said during the sessions. It was as if a higher intelligence spoke through him, and it was exactly this higher intelligence that revealed the secrets about our dogs. The information Cayce received about animals was consistent and specific. He described how different species have different spiritual purposes on Earth. He explained why certain animals are drawn to certain people. He revealed how pets function as bridges between the physical and spiritual worlds. But dogs, according to Cayce, hold a special position in this spiritual hierarchy. They are the only animals that made a conscious pact with humanity. Not just a pact of survival or domestication, but a deep spiritual agreement. Dogs chose to evolve alongside humans, Cayce revealed in one of his most remarkable sessions. They sacrificed part of their wild nature to become spiritual companions to humanity. This is a sacred contract that transcends lifetimes. What makes Cayce's revelations about dogs even more impressive is that they were made decades before any modern scientific research on animal behavior, interspecies communication, or emotional bonds between humans and pets. He was describing phenomena that science would only begin to understand 50 years later. Cayce explained that dogs have a higher energetic sensitivity than humans. They can detect spiritual presences, changes in people's auric fields, and even predict future events through their extrasensory perceptions. A dog knows when its mission with a certain person is complete, said Cayce. They also know when it is time to go. This is not sadness, it is fulfillment of purpose. During his readings, Cayce often mentioned how dogs serve as spiritual mirrors for their owners. If a person needs to learn about loyalty, they receive an extremely loyal dog. If they need to work on patience, they get a more stubborn dog. If they need to heal emotional trauma, they receive a dog with a healing personality. The most extraordinary part is that Cayce made these statements with the same certainty with which he diagnosed physical illnesses. For him, there was no difference between healing the body and understanding the soul. It was all part of a single, interconnected spiritual reality. Today, more than 80 years after his death, Edgar Cayce's revelations about dogs continue to be confirmed by the experiences of millions of people around the world. Dog owners report telepathic connections, spiritual protection, and personal transformations that can only be explained by the teachings left by the sleeping prophet. Cayce's credibility doesn't come only from his psychic abilities, but from the proven accuracy of his information over decades. When he talks about the spiritual mission of dogs, he's not speculating. He's transmitting direct knowledge from higher dimensions of reality, and that knowledge is about to completely change your relationship with your canine companion. Pause for a moment and think about the story of how you and your dog met. Maybe you went to a shelter just to take a look and walked out with a new companion. Or maybe it showed up lost at your doorstep. Or still, you might have resisted the idea of having a pet for months until something inexplicable made you change your mind. Do you really believe it was coincidence? Edgar Cayce revealed a truth that will completely change your perspective on this encounter. You and your dog already knew each other long before meeting in this life. You share a connection that transcends time, space, and even death itself. In spiritual dimensions, before we reincarnate, we make agreements with other souls about the roles we will play in physical life. These contracts include family, friends, romantic partners, and yes, our pets. Canine souls choose their human families even before they are born, Cayce explained during a session that left everyone present emotional. They study our spiritual needs and prepare themselves to serve us in exactly the way we need. That means your dog isn't just an animal you adopted. It's a soul that accepted the specific mission of helping in your spiritual evolution. It knows your weaknesses, your deepest fears, your emotional healing needs, and it came equipped with exactly the personality needed to work on those issues with you. Think about your dog's personality traits. If it is extremely protective, you likely need to work on issues of safety and trust. If it's very playful, maybe you need to relearn joy and spontaneity. If it's calm and peaceful, your soul may be calling for peace and serenity. but the connection goes far beyond personality traits. Cayce revealed that many dogs are reincarnations of pets who have lived with us in past lives. They return to continue the spiritual work they began in other lifetimes. Recognizing a dog from past lives is instant, Cayce said. There's immediate familiarity, a connection that doesn't need to be built because it's already existed for a long time. Have you felt that? That feeling that you've known your dog far longer than you actually have? That's not your imagination. It's soul memory. The signs of a past life connection are unmistakable. Your dog may react to specific places as if it knows them. It may show fears or preferences that don't make sense given its current life experience. It may have abilities or behaviors that seem innate, as if they were memories from other lives. Cayce also revealed that some dogs are human souls who chose to reincarnate as animals to serve specific people. These are the special dogs, those that seem to have human wisdom in their eyes, that show deep compassion, and that sometimes act almost human. These souls make an immense sacrifice, Cayce explained. They give up the human experience to serve as spiritual guardians. It's an act of unconditional love, rarely understood. This explains why some dogs seem to understand complex concepts, why they show such sophisticated empathy, why they sometimes seem to be trying to teach us something important through their behaviors. The timing of the encounter is also no coincidence. Your dog comes into your life exactly when you need it. It may be during a difficult phase, when you're ready for a major transformation, or when you're about to face challenges that will require the specific type of support only it can offer. Edgar Cayce described this perfect timing as part of the divine orchestration that governs our lives. Nothing happens by chance. Every encounter has a purpose. Every connection has meaning. Every relationship has a spiritual mission, and the mission of dogs in our lives is one of the most sacred of all. They come to teach us about unconditional love, loyalty, forgiveness, joy in the present moment, and complete acceptance. But they also come to energetically protect us, help us heal old traumas, and prepare us for the next steps on our spiritual journey. When you look at your dog now, you're not just seeing an animal. You're seeing a spiritual being who chose to give up its own evolutionary path to accelerate yours. You're seeing a brave soul who accepted the mission of standing by your side through joys and sorrows, successes and challenges. Why does your dog sometimes act as if it's protecting you from something you can't see? Why does it get restless in certain places? Why does it seem to sense danger or presences before you're even aware of them? The answer goes far beyond animal instinct. They are spiritual guardians disguised as pets. While we humans have lost much of our natural spiritual sensitivity over the course of evolution, dogs have kept that ability intact. They can see, feel, and perceive dimensions of reality that our rational minds have blocked out, and they use that sensitivity to protect us in ways we can't even imagine. Dogs function as spiritual sentinels, Cayce explained during one of his most revealing sessions. They can detect negative presences, dense energies, and even spiritual entities approaching their human companions. That means when your dog barks at an empty corner of the house, it's not barking at nothing. It's alerting you to something that's there but that you can't perceive. Dogs' ability to see beyond the physical world is one of the reasons they were considered sacred in so many ancient cultures. But the protection dogs offer goes far beyond alerting about presences. They act as living energetic shields, absorbing negativity directed at their owners, and transmuting these dense energies through their own auric field. A dog can absorb up to 70% of the negative energy directed at its human companion, Cayce revealed. They do this consciously, as part of their spiritual mission. It's a service they provide out of unconditional love. This revelation explains why some dogs develop mysterious illnesses that mirror their owner's emotional or physical problems. They're not just getting sick, they're literally absorbing and processing toxic energies to protect their human families. Cayce described 3 levels of spiritual protection that dogs offer. Basic energetic protection. Every dog creates a protective field around its home and family. They can sense when someone is approaching with negative intentions even before the person physically arrives. That's why many dogs start barking or get agitated when certain people are approaching. Protection against entities. Dogs can see and interact with spirits and entities that inhabit dimensions close to ours. They serve as a natural barrier against negative spiritual influences that try to affect their human families. Advanced psychic protection. Some dogs, especially those with deeper spiritual connections to their owners, can intercept psychic attacks, spells, or consciously directed negative energies. They absorb these energies and transmute them before they reach their human companions. What makes this protection even more extraordinary is that it's offered voluntarily. Dogs are not forced to play this role, they choose to do so out of love. It's part of the spiritual contract they made before reincarnating. Canine loyalty is not just instinct, Cayce explained. It's spiritual commitment. They promise to protect and serve, and they fulfill that promise until their last breath. This dedication explains behaviors we often interpret as possessiveness or jealousy. When your dog doesn't like a certain person, it's not being antisocial, it's detecting something in that person's energy that could be harmful to you. When it insists on sleeping in your bed, it's not being spoiled, it's maintaining your energetic protection during your most vulnerable moment, sleep. During sleep, our energy fields are more open and susceptible to external influences. Dogs know this instinctively and heighten their vigilance during nighttime hours. That's why many owners report their dogs becoming more alert at night, even when there's no apparent physical danger. Cayce also revealed that dogs can foresee negative events that are about to happen to their families. They sense changes in energetic fields that precede accidents, illnesses, or crises. That's why they sometimes display strange behaviors or seem to be trying to warn us about something we can't identify. They see future probabilities through the present energy currents, Cayce explained. An agitated dog may be trying to alert about something that hasn't happened yet, but is already forming in the energetic field. This ability to anticipate is one of the most sophisticated forms of protection dogs offer. They don't just react to present danger, they prepare us for future dangers. Now that you know your dog is a spiritual guardian, it's time to learn how to interpret the signs it is constantly sending you. Every seemingly strange or inexplicable behavior has a deeper meaning. Your dog is trying to communicate with you about realities you cannot perceive on your own. But first, I can't miss the opportunity to invite you to take the Quantum Thinking Challenge. It's for those who want to take control of their reality and consciously manifest their desires. You'll have exercises for 21 days to reprogram your mind, raise your vibration, and unlock your full energetic potential. If you want to participate, check the first pinned comment. Let's now begin with the most common and misunderstood behavior: barking at empty spaces. When your dog barks at a corner of the room where there's nothing visible, it is literally seeing something you cannot. Edgar Cayce explained that dogs can perceive spiritual presences, residual energy fields, and even imprints left by emotionally intense events that happened in the past. Every environment carries energetic memories, Cayce revealed. Dogs can read those memories as if they were open books. They bark to warn about energies that could negatively affect their human companions. If your dog always barks at the same place, pay attention. Something traumatic may have happened there before you moved in. It could be a point of entry for negative energies, or there could be a spiritual presence trying to make contact. The way your dog barks also matters. Short, insistent barks generally indicate alerts about physical presences. Long, deep barks may signal negative spiritual energies. Sharp, quick barks are often warnings about imminent dangers. Another common mystical behavior is the refusal to enter certain spaces. If your dog always avoids a specific room or gets restless in certain areas, it is detecting something you need to be aware of. Dogs are like living energy detectors, Cayce explained. They immediately feel when a space is charged with negativity or when there are unwanted presences. If your dog refuses to enter a space, respect that intuition. Do an energy cleansing of the area. Light a white candle, burn purifying incense, or simply pray asking for protection and purification of the space. Have you noticed how your dog sometimes stares at something you can't see? It might stay still for minutes watching a specific point, with a concentrated expression, as if it were observing something fascinating. When that happens, your dog is likely observing a spiritual presence. It could be a protective spirit, a loved one who has passed, or simply energy moving through the space. What's important is its reaction. If it's calm and curious, the presence is beneficial. If it's tense or uncomfortable, it may be something that needs to be cleared. Moments when your dog comes to you for no apparent reason and insists on staying close also have special meaning. Cayce revealed that dogs can feel when our energy is out of balance or when we are under psychic attack. They approach to offer immediate protection, Cayce explained. Their physical presence strengthens our auric field and helps us repel negative influences. Next time your dog comes to you insistently, even when you haven't called, stop and evaluate how you're feeling. Were you worried, anxious, thinking about something negative? Your dog detected that you needed energetic support. Overprotective behaviors are also important signs. If your dog suddenly starts following you around the house, sleeping by your door, or becoming more alert around strangers, it may be sensing that you are going through a period of spiritual vulnerability. This often happens during times of change, emotional stress, or when we are making important decisions. Our energy becomes more open and susceptible, and dogs automatically intensify their protection. Comment below. What's the strangest behavior you've ever seen in your dog? Let's discover together what they were trying to communicate. Food can also be a spiritual indicator. Dogs that suddenly stop eating or drastically change their eating habits may be absorbing negative energies from the environment or their owners. They literally lose their appetite when they're energetically working to protect their families. Cayce taught that when a dog loses its appetite without an apparent medical cause, we should ask ourselves, what's happening emotionally in the house? Are there conflicts, stress, dense energies that need to be cleansed? Sleep patterns also reveal a lot. Dogs that sleep much more than usual may be processing negative energies they've absorbed. During sleep, they transmute these energies and energetically purify themselves. On the other hand, dogs that are restless at night, that can't settle down or stay awake without an apparent reason, may be detecting intense spiritual activity in the environment. They keep watch to protect the family during this period of greater vulnerability. The most touching behavior Cayce described is when dogs begin to show excessive affection for no apparent reason. They become more affectionate, seek more physical contact, and want to stay closer to their owners. They do this when they feel their mission with that person is nearing its end, Cayce revealed. It's as if they know their time together is limited and want to savor every moment. This knowledge brings us a beautiful responsibility to pay attention to the signs our canine companions are constantly sending. And the communication between you is just beginning to deepen. Edgar Cayce discovered that dogs not only protect and accompany us, they function as perfect mirrors of our soul. Every trait, every behavior, every issue your dog displays is reflecting something very specific about your own spiritual journey. Dogs are direct reflections of their human companion's inner state, Cayce revealed during a session that left everyone in silence. They externally manifest what we need to see about ourselves but cannot see on our own. This means your dog is like an open book about your own soul. Its qualities, flaws, fears, healing needs, all of that is being reflected through your canine companion's personality and behaviors. Let's begin with an example that will make you rethink everything. Aggressive dogs rarely belong to naturally aggressive people. In fact, they usually belong to people who repress their own aggression. The dog is externally expressing the anger the owner connoter won't express. Ordenby If you have a very territorial or protective dog, pause and ask yourself, where in your life do you feel invaded? Where do you need to establish clearer boundaries? Where are you not properly protecting your emotional space? Cayce explained that dogs come into our lives already equipped with exactly the personality needed to teach us about our blind spots. Let's explore the most common mirrors dogs show us. Anxious dogs. If your dog is anxious, you likely also struggle with anxiety, even if you don't admit it. Anxious dogs appear to people who need to learn to relax, trust life more, and let go of excessive control. They force us to develop patience and to work on our own anxiety. Fearful dogs. Dogs that are afraid of everything mirror our own repressed fears. They show us how fear can paralyze and prevent us from living fully. By helping our dog overcome its fears, we learn to overcome our own. Stubborn dogs. If your dog is stubborn, it is reflecting your own resistance to change. Stubborn dogs appear to people who need to learn flexibility and acceptance. They teach us that we can't always control everything. Needy dogs. Dogs that constantly need attention mirror our own emotional neediness. They show us how our need for approval and affection can be excessive. By learning to give the dog the security it needs, we learn to give that security to ourselves. Independent dogs. Very independent dogs usually belong to people who struggle with intimacy and emotional bonds. They teach us about the balance between autonomy and connection. But the most impressive mirror is how dogs' illnesses reflect their owners' emotional issues. Cayce made extraordinary discoveries about this connection. Digestive issues. Dogs that develop digestive problems often belong to people who have difficulty digesting life situations. They are absorbing and processing energies their owners cannot process emotionally. Skin problems. Dogs with skin issues may be reflecting their owners' self-image and self-esteem issues. Skin is our interface with the outside world, so skin problems in dogs often mirror their owners' difficulties with exposure and vulnerability. Respiratory problems. Dogs that develop respiratory problems may be reflecting their owners' difficulty to breathe freely in life. This may indicate a feeling of suffocation, oppression, or lack of freedom. Heart problems. Perhaps the most touching of all, dogs that develop heart issues often belong to people who have wounded or closed hearts. They are literally absorbing their owner's emotional pain. Dogs take on their human companions' illnesses as a form of spiritual service, Cayce explained. They would rather suffer physically than see their owners suffer emotionally. This revelation brings a deep responsibility. When our dog becomes ill, we need to ask ourselves what emotional or spiritual aspect of our own life needs healing. Often, when we work on our emotional healing, our dogs mysteriously recover, but the mirror also works in a positive way. Joyful and balanced dogs reflect owners who are in harmony with themselves. Affectionate and social dogs mirror people who are comfortable giving and receiving love. Your dog's personality also reveals your undeveloped gifts and talents. If your dog is extremely intuitive, you likely have psychic abilities you're not using. If it is very protective, you may have a natural gift for caring and protecting others. Edgar Cayce taught that we can accelerate our spiritual growth by consciously observing the mirrors our dogs show us. Instead of judging their behaviors, we should ask ourselves, what is this teaching me about myself? When we begin to see our dogs as soul mirrors, our relationship with them transforms completely. We stop seeing their behaviors as problems to be fixed and start seeing them as lessons to be learned. Have you ever felt like your dog was reading your thoughts? Communication between humans and dogs doesn't depend on words or gestures, Cayce explained. It happens through thought waves, mental images, and direct energetic transmissions between consciousnesses. Dogs are natural masters of telepathic communication because they never lost that ability. While we humans developed verbal language and gradually abandoned our natural telepathic abilities, dogs kept that pure form of communication intact. They don't just receive our thoughts and emotions, they also constantly send us information. The problem is that most of us haven't learned to listen to that silent communication. Let's start with examples you've certainly experienced. Thought of giving food equals dog appears in the kitchen. You were in the living room, didn't even move, but just thought about feeding your dog. Minutes later, he shows up in the kitchen waiting. He didn't hear any physical sound, he picked up on your mental intention. Shared sadness. You were feeling sad, but didn't cry or show it outwardly. Even so, your dog came to you and started being affectionate, offering comfort. He felt your emotional energy before it manifested physically. Arrival anticipation. Your dog gets restless or goes to the door minutes before you get home, even when your schedule is irregular. He's picking up your intention to return before you're physically near. Cayce explained that this communication happens through what he called the shared consciousness field. When you develop a deep bond with your dog, you literally share a mental space where thoughts, emotions, and intentions flow freely between both consciousnesses. It's not magic, it's spiritual physics, Cayce revealed. Consciousnesses operate at specific frequencies, and when two consciousnesses tune to the same frequency, telepathic communication becomes natural. But you can develop this communication consciously and intentionally. Here are the techniques Cayce taught. Technique 1. Communication through mental images. Sit quietly with your dog nearby. Close your eyes and clearly visualize an image of what you want to communicate. If you want him to come to you, visualize him walking towards you. If you want him to calm down, visualize him lying peacefully. Hold this mental image firmly for a few seconds, as if you were sending a picture directly to his mind. Don't force it, just project the image calmly and clearly. Technique 2. Transmission of emotions. Dogs are extremely sensitive to emotional states. You can communicate your intentions through specific emotions. If you want him to be calm, cultivate a deep sense of peace and tranquility within yourself. If you want him to be alert, generate a feeling of focused attention. The key is to genuinely feel the emotion, not just think it. Dogs pick up on what you feel, not what you think you feel. Technique 3. Communication through eye contact. Look directly into your dog's eyes and maintain soft eye contact. Don't stare in an intimidating way. Look with love and clear intention. While maintaining eye contact, mentally project your message. Cayce discovered that direct eye contact creates an instant telepathic bridge between humans and dogs. That's why you can talk to your dog with just a look. Technique 4. Mental questions and observing responses. You can ask your dog mental questions and observe how he responds through behaviors, expressions, or energy. Ask mentally, "Are you okay?" and watch his reaction. Ask, "Do you want to go for a walk?" and see how he responds. The responses may come through body movements, shifts in energy, or even images that appear in your mind. Trust the first impression you receive. But telepathic communication goes far beyond simple commands. Cayce revealed that dogs often try to communicate important information about our health, our future, and our spiritual well-being. Health warnings. Dogs can detect illness before symptoms appear. If your dog starts persistently sniffing or licking a specific part of your body, pay attention. He may be trying to alert you to a developing health issue. Alerts about people. When your dog shows inexplicable aversion to a particular person, he's picking up energetic information about that person that you can't consciously perceive. Trust his intuition. Predictions of events. Dogs can sense energetic changes that precede major events. If your dog is acting strangely for no apparent reason, he might be sensing that something significant is about to happen in your life. The most touching revelation Edgar Cayce made about our canine companions is about their role as spiritual healers. Dogs are divine instruments of healing, Cayce revealed. They can absorb traumas, dissolve energetic blockages, and restore emotional balance in their human companions. This is one of their most sacred missions. If you've gone through a tough time in life and felt that your dog's presence brought you unexplained comfort, you've experienced this healing in action. It wasn't just companionship, it was literally healing energy being transmitted through the loving connection between you. Dogs possess a natural ability that most humans have lost. They can absorb negative energy without being permanently affected by it. They function as conscious energy sponges, sucking up emotional density and transforming it into light. Let's understand how this healing happens. Absorption of emotional trauma. When you're going through deep pain, grief, separation, job loss, family problems, your dog automatically detects the imbalance in your energy field. He gets close and, through physical contact or simply nearby presence, begins absorbing the dense trauma energy. Have you noticed how your dog stays closer to you when you're sad? How he seems to want to cuddle more, stay glued to you? He's not just offering emotional comfort, he's literally pulling the energetic pain out of your system. Energetic transmutation. After absorbing the negative energy, dogs process it through their own energy fields. Cayce explained that they have a natural ability to transform dense energy into light. It's as if they were spiritual alchemists, turning emotional lead into spiritual gold. Return of healed energy. After processing the negative energy, dogs return purified and healed energy to their human companions. This happens through affection, physical closeness, and even through loving eye contact. That's why you feel better. After spending time with your dog, you've literally received healed energy back. This isn't just a beautiful fear, it's a real energetic process that can be observed and felt. Many people report that after difficult periods, they gradually began to feel better, and their dog's constant presence was fundamental in that healing process. Cayce identified different types of healing that dogs offer. Anxiety healing. Dogs are especially effective at healing anxiety because they radiate an energy of presence in the current moment. They don't worry about the future or dwell on the past. Their energy naturally calms our nervous system and brings us back to the present. Depression healing. The vital energy of dogs is like a natural antidote to depression. They radiate genuine joy, enthusiasm for life, and unconditional love. This luminous energy gradually dissolves the emotional density of depression. Trauma healing. Dogs have a special ability to heal trauma because they offer complete emotional safety. They don't judge, criticize, or abandon. This unconditional presence creates a safe environment where old traumas can be processed and healed. Loneliness healing. The deep connection we develop with our dogs heals wounds of loneliness and abandonment. They teach us that we are worthy of unconditional love and that we are never truly alone. The healing process happens even more intensely during sleep. Cayce revealed that when we sleep close to our dogs, a deep, energetic synchronization occurs. Our auric fields align, and healing happens at the most subtle levels of consciousness. During sleep, the barriers of the conscious mind dissolve, Cayce explained. That's when the deepest healing can take place. A dog sleeping close to its human companion is actively working on healing soul wounds. This is one of the reasons many people feel an instinctive need to sleep with their dogs. It's not just physical comfort, it's a real need for energetic healing. But the healing dogs offer goes beyond emotional. They can also stimulate physical healing through their energetic presence. Healing through canine purring. Although we associate purring with cats, dogs produce similar healing vibrations through their breathing, heartbeat, and even subtle sounds they make when relaxed. These vibrations can stimulate physical healing in their human companions. Healing through body heat. A dog's body heat is not just physical, it's energetic. When a dog lies on a painful part of its owner's body, it is offering healing warmth that can accelerate cellular regeneration. Healing through pressure. Dogs intuitively know where to apply physical pressure to stimulate acupuncture points and energy meridians. When they lie on us or press with their paws, they are often activating specific healing points. Cayce also discovered that different breeds have different healing specialties. Large dogs, specialists in healing deep traumas and emotional security issues. Small dogs, excellent for healing anxiety and self-esteem issues. Calm and quiet dogs, ideal for healing stress and hyperactivity. Energetic and playful dogs, perfect for healing depression and lack of motivation. The most extraordinary part is that dogs perform this healing consciously. They know exactly what they are doing and deliberately choose to absorb our pain to help us. Energy baths, time in nature, joyful play, and lots of affection help our dogs process and release the dense energies they've absorbed from us. It's our way of repaying the healing service they constantly provide. When we understand that our dogs are spiritual healers, our gratitude for them multiplies infinitely. They're not just pets, they're four-legged angels dedicated to our healing and evolution. And this healing is just the beginning of the transformation they bring to our lives.